Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of At Home with Dan. Today I'm going to be making some bread. So this is a basic bread recipe which I've used throughout my career for far too many years that I really want to admit to. It's a very basic white bread, but it's a very versatile white bread, so you can add things to it. You can make different flavours, you can make bread rolls, you can make loaves of bread, you can shape it into different shapes and everything. So it's a really good basic bread recipe to get started with. So the recipe only has a few ingredients, and the basic ingredient is a strong bread flour. The reason you use strong flour is because it has a higher gluten content, and it just gives you that real strength within the dough when you're using it. So when you work a dough, you can see it springs back. It's got a real elasticity to it. It's the gluten in there. So I'm using this fantastic, thankfully I live and work in Yorkshire and we've got some of the best producers around. So I'm using this fantastic organic Yorkshire flour. You can use any strong bread flour, but this is a really good one. Today I am just doing a white bread. I will do another episode with a wholemeal bread or a brown bread, so I do have some wholemeal flour. So basically, ingredients wise guys, I've got the strong bread flour, I've got some salt and sugar, I've got an egg and some olive oil, and then I've got some yeast. With yeast you can use two different types. You can use fresh yeast, which I'm using, so it's quite crumbly fresh yeast. Or you can use the fast active dry yeast. The difference between fresh and dry is the dry one's kind of intensified in strength, so basically it's double the strength of a fresh yeast. So with this one I'm using 30 grams of fresh yeast. If you were doing the dry yeast, you'd maybe just use 2 of the 7-gram sachets. And then in here I've got my water, so it's warm water, or what we call tepid. So it's kind of body temperature. So we're just going to put the water into the yeast. I'm going to give it a good mix up, and then to the yeast mix I'm also going to add the egg and the olive oil. Just add the egg and the oil into there. So that's our yeast mixed ready, easy as that. And then I've got my flour in here, salt and sugar in this bowl. I'm going to put the salt and sugar into the flour. And then you can do all this by hand, but for me doing a demo and trying to be quick with it, I'm going to do it on the mixer. So apologies for the noise. So I'm just going to mix the dry ingredients together for a few seconds. So now the dry ingredients are mixed, all I need to do is slowly incorporate the wet ingredients into the dry. So I'm just going to do that. It might get a little bit noisy because the machine's quite noisy. So just slowly pour it in, it'll come together as a dough. So we just keep adding all of the liquid until it's all incorporated in. Just before you get the last in, just make sure you get all the yeast from the bottom of the jug. So now it's a case of just letting it come together as a dough. So you can see I've just done it on a slow speed at this moment in time. As it holds together and forms a real dough and everything's mixed in, I'm going to turn the speed up. You can obviously do this by hand. You can either do it on a bench or you could do it in a big bowl. Just takes a little bit longer and a little bit more elbow grease. Right guys, so the dough's been mixing for about 5 minutes, so it's been kneading nicely on the machine. I'm just going to take it out the bowl now. I just want to kind of show you what kind of consistency we're going for. So you can see it comes out in one nice big ball of dough. Generally you can tell when it's a good mixture, it actually kind of cleans the inside of the bowl out. So I've just put a little bit of flour on the surface. I'm just going to lightly flour my hands as well. Basically using the palms of your hand, just push out and pull it back, push out, pull it back, and it should stretch back. It shouldn't rip or tear or anything like that. So you can see we've got a really nice bread dough there. So I'm just going to give it a little mix like that. And then what I'm going to do is just back into the mixing bowl. I'm just going to flour the mixing bowl. I'm going to put our bread dough back in. I'm going to flour the top of that as well. What we need to do is we just need to cover it, and then we need to let it proof. So this is where you need to be a little bit patient. It's going to take about an hour or so for this to proof. So ideal proven conditions are in a kind of warm, humid environment. So places like an airing cupboard actually is perfect, but otherwise just a warm kitchen. It's a really warm day today in this kitchen. So I'm actually just going to put this to one side. Right guys, so that's the dough made, mixed, kneaded, and it's just sat now proven in true Blue Peter style. Here's one I made earlier. So this has been proven for about an hour. It's maybe a little bit more than an hour actually. And as you can see, the yeast is well and truly activated. It's all blowing up. It's beautiful, to be fair. So what I'm going to do is just take the cling film off. So although it's quite messy work, it's actually a good thing that the dough's quite sticky. You don't want your dough to be too dry, because if it's too dry, it'll generally be quite tight with a really tough bread dough. So that's our bread dough out. What I'm going to do now is what's called knocking it back. So basically we're just going to knead all of that air out, and we're going to take it back down to essentially the size it was when we first made the dough. So I'm just going to knead this for a few minutes. Right then guys, so I've knocked this back, I've kneaded it out, so it's had its first proof, we've knocked all the air back and we're back down to the kind of the original size dough. Now it's a case of making the bread that we want to make. So I'm going to make some bread rolls. Now bread rolls I generally weigh out to about 60 grams. So if you just stick them on there. My 6 bread rolls, I've got some baking trays ready to go. Just lined with a silicone mat. You can use greaseproof paper. And basically what we're going to do is just mould them into a roll. So similar kind of principle as before as the knocking back. You just need to kind of knead it around into a little shape. So if you get a kind of bit of a ball shape going on like that, and then using your hand and kind of claw your hand, you want to kind of use this part of your hand, so your palm. So you're basically cupping the bread in your hand and then push with your palm. So I'm pushing with this part and use your hand to roll it around. So push, roll it around, push, roll it around. And you just do that. It should go nice and firm and nice and tight and give you a nice little bread roll ball. And then you end up with a little bread roll like so. When you've been doing it for a while, you'll figure out how to do it with 2 hands. And this is where you can start getting a little bit adventurous as well if you want. So they're just plain bread rolls. If you want, we could roll this out a little bit. So if you roll it out into a kind of long, thin sausage shape, and then I'm going to hold the dough in one hand, wrap it around my fingers, and pop that back through like that, and you get yourself what we call a knot. There's 2 or 3 different variations. So still plenty of dough left. So what we're going to do is we'll make a loaf as well. So I want the loaf to be about 400 grams. So again, just knead this out. And then basically it's the same as the bread rolls, just on a slightly bigger scale. And you get yourself a nice little loaf. So I'm just going to pop that down on there. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to weigh out 3 equal size portions of the dough. So I'm going to go for 3 100 gram pieces. Bit of flour on my hands on the surface. So I've got my 3 even sized pieces, and now what I'm going to attempt to do, not that I'm very good at French plats, I'm going to go for a French plat. So I think if we start them all off like so, and then if we go over, 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 so there you go. Flip those over and turn that into a little French plat. The last of my bread dough here, and I'm actually just going to put this into an actual bread tin, into a loaf tin. You could do that with all of it, to be fair. You could just make yourselves a few loaves. I just like playing around with different shapes and sizes. So I'm just going to get that into the big bowl to begin with, like we did before. And and just gently roll it out a little bit. And then I've got a bread tin here. Pop that in. Right guys, that's our basic white bread dough, done into a few different shapes. So we've got a proper loaf going on here, a little kind of cob here, French plat, a knot, a rope, and then just some regular buns. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just gonna score the ones that aren't shaped into special shapes. I'm just gonna score, and then I'm gonna give them all a light, kind of give you that proper farmhouse rustic feel. So that's all the bread doughs portioned up and molded. The next part is we need to prove them again, so it's a second proof before they get cooked. Now this is a bit of an interesting one. You can cover with cling film, but you've got to be very light because you don't want it to stick. Something I got taught many years ago, which I've used to this day, is actually to use a clean bin bag. So it is a very clean bin bag, just off the roll. And what we're going to do is take our tray, stick our tray inside of the bin bag, right down to the bottom, and then using the bin bag, if you kind of pull down and push quite rapidly, it pushes air into the inside. So you go like that, and it basically creates air inside, and you end up being left with your own kind of proving chamber. So it gives it its perfect environment. Right guys, that's all our breads in their little proving chambers. We're just going to give them about an hour or so, and then we're going to come back and cook them. So our bread's been proving for almost an hour now, and it's time to get it in the oven. So what we're going to do is just very carefully and gently as you can, just remove it from its bags, and try your best not to touch the dough itself. One thing that can happen if you touch the dough at this stage, it can kind of collapse back in on itself. It's almost created like a bit of a skin. So you can see how much that's increased in size. So that's all our bread ready to go in. If you wanted to, you could give it another dusting of flour, which I may do. Just gives it a bit of an artistic finish on the top. That kind of rustic farmhouse feel. Our bread ready to go in the oven. I've got my oven preheated to 200 degrees. This is a fan assisted oven. If you're on a non-fan oven, it's about 220, gas mark 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight in with the bread. And then my final little tip with this is bread loves a bit of a steamy environment. So I've just got a little ramekin of water, and I'm just going to pour that into the base of the oven. So what that's going to do is that's just going to create a little bit of steam in there. So bread in the oven. There's 2 or 3 different types and styles and sizes there. So the bread rolls are probably going to take 12 minutes or so, 8 to 12 minutes depending on the size. And then the loaves might take up to 20. And what we're looking for is a nice golden brown crispy outer crust. And then when we turn it out, we want to do a little tap test on the bottom, and you can kind of hear a hollow sound. So we'll give them like 12 minutes or so. We'll come back and we'll check them, and we'll see how we're getting on. Right everybody, 15 minutes has passed, and the bread not only is looking great in the oven, but it smells amazing. I wish you could smell this. So I'm going to have a look and see if it's ready to come out. So guys, hope you can see that. That's our bread rolls. The loaf, which is in the tins, probably just going to need a few more minutes. So what we're looking for, I'm just going to use a towel because these are going to be really hot. Nice and crisp on the outside. Turn it over, and it should sound, if I bring that closer to the microphone, you should get that kind of hollow sound. In the case of taking them off the trays and sticking them onto a cooling rack, just let them cool down naturally. So until then guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and happy cooking.